Welcome back. I survived. It's done. 16 game day. With the 5 matinees, it wasn't as bad tonight as it could have been. It is Thursday. That terrifies me, so I'm going to go to Abbotsford games on Wednesday and Friday. And let myself go to Abbotsford Canuck games because I've had those season tickets and I haven't gone to a single game yet this year. So, all right, starting off with, we're going to talk about the Ducks and the Arizona Coyotes. As you see, it gets its own board, and here we are. Eriksson Ek versus Prosvetov. No, it's not Eriksson Ek from Minnesota. It's Ole Eriksson Ek, a goaltending prospect for the Ducks. Cactus leg jerseys being worn by the Arizona Coyotes as they wear those really sharp third jerseys. No Troy Terry because his wife's expecting, so he didn't come on this trip. Early press by the Coyotes. Schmaltz is denied. More Coyotes pressure. The shots are 2-0 in their favor 5.5 minutes in. Soderstrom fires one wide. It's all Coyotes at this point. Then there's a power play for the Ducks. That was killed off. 2 shots on net for Anaheim. Pressed by the Ducks at the half, but eventually Fisher taps one in. Mosier and McBain with the assists at 12:42. So that makes the score 1-0. Ducks then go back to the power play. Post for Comtois on an open net. And then Henrique, as the power play comes to an end, scores from Strome at 14:21. So 2:29 left. The Coyotes get a power play. That's killed off. The Ducks get a power play with 8 seconds left, so that rolls over into the second period. The kill is finished there. Shots are 2-1 Coyotes at 3.5 minutes. The Ducks press at 4 minutes. Nestorenko's denied on a fast break. We get a power play for Arizona. Krause couldn't bury on his first opportunity, so he took it personally and buried the next one at 6:33. It's Krause from Boyd and Soderstrom. The shots are 4-3 for the Ducks 9 minutes in. Then there's a post for Brown. The Ducks clear it out. Schmaltz fans on one, and then at 9:06, Keller. It's a one-timer on a great pass from Schmaltz. Mosier with the other assist. Coyotes press for another. There's a post for Hayden there. Then at 12:01, on a one-timer on a cross-ice pass, Strome ties it. Doesn't tie it. Makes it 3-2. From Grant and Jones at 12:01. Keller then nearly answers. So the Coyotes still with that 1-goal lead and looking to answer there. Strome versus Mackey. Good fight there. Strome already had a goal. So, yeah, he ends up getting a Gordie Howe hat trick today. Good for him. White then has a shot through a screen that saved and held the Ducks with some momentum. They even up the shots late in the period. Coyotes press. There's a post for Josh Brown. Megna has a shot that's kicked aside as the Ducks press. But we're going to the third period with the score 3-2 in favor of Arizona. Third period, Krause is denied from the slot. The shots are 5-0 for the Coyotes 4.5 minutes in. But then we get a power play for Anaheim, and they score on it. It is Henrique from Strome and Zegras at 5:46. Pretty early in that power play, too. Just win the face-off and score it. We then get a power play for the Coyotes. Mosier has a screenshot that's held. That's killed off. Coyotes go back to the power play with 9:58 left. Hayden has a chance to block her to side. That's killed off as well. Schmaltz then has a shot that's blocked. Coyotes press with 4.5 minutes left. There's a post for Boyd. And then at 18:06, Jones puts the Ducks ahead from Derek Grant. So that makes it a lead for them. However, Michelli would answer after they pull the goalie at 19:24. Keller and Schmaltz with the assists there. And so big goal for Michelli. Ties the game. We're going to overtime. Ducks control early in the overtime. Keller was robbed on a 3-on-2. Schmaltz has a shot that's saved. The Ducks take over. Michelli sets up a break for the Coyotes. Nestorenko was then denied, but Hayden is not. He buries it on a 2-on-1. Michelli and Valimaki with the assist. That's at exactly 4 minutes into overtime. The Coyotes win this one 5-4. They go to 28, 39, and 13 with the overtime loss point. The Ducks 23, 45, and 11, and they pull ahead of teams, meaning they are no longer number one in the sweepstakes. 3 stars in this one. Hayden, Keller, and Henrique. Shots on net are 10-9 Arizona in the first, 9-8 Anaheim in the second, 18-8 Arizona in the third. In the overtime, both teams had 3 shots. Final shots 39-29 Arizona. Power plays, the Ducks 1 for 4, Coyotes 1 for 4, the hits 24-15 Arizona. Fowler played 38 minutes and 54 seconds. I believe that's a record. So kudos to him for a game that's not like, overtime, double, triple overtime. Or I should say playoffs, double, triple overtime. 38-54 is insane. Eriksson Ek, 34 saves on 39 shots. And Prosvetov, 25 saves on 29 shots. Better than his last couple of games. But at any rate, now I need to change boards and get into this evening's recap. Now, tonight was a highly unusual night. In fact, today, highly unusual in that my wife, of course, cheers for Minnesota and cheers for Winnipeg. I cheer for Boston, Dallas and Vancouver. Obviously, she likes Vancouver as well. Good day for those teams. All right, so we start off with Florida and the Capitals because I consider this to be the evening part of the recap. Lyon versus Lindgren in this one. Milano has a chance that's held. The Caps are getting zone time. They're not getting enough shots. Smith has a 4-on-3 chance that's held. We get a power play for Washington. That's killed off. The shots are 4 apiece, 7 minutes in. We get a power play for the Panthers. Lindgren holds amidst a dog pile there. Then there's a shorthanded rush chance for Wilson that helps to end it. There were 3 shots on that power play. Panthers press and Tkachuk scores, but a review shows that it was with a high stick, so that doesn't count. 3:04 left, the Caps go to the power play. They do set up late in it, but that's killed off at scoreless after 1. Second period, shots are 1 apiece at 2.5 minutes. Power play for the Capitals, that's killed off. Sherry's then denied on a break. And then at 8:51, Washington opens the scoring. It's Strome from Wilson and Protas. But Florida answers. It's Verhaeghe from Montour and Barkov at 10:56. That was on a face-off win. Nice set play there. Things get pushy then on a hold by Lindgren. We get a power play for Florida, and they score on it. At 13:47, it's Ekblad from Reinhart and Tkachuk. The Caps would press to respond, and eventually they do on a Panthers line change, taking advantage there. Wilson scores from Sherry and Kuznetsov at 16:05. So after a scoreless first, it's 2-2 after the second. Third period, shots are 1 apiece at 3 minutes. Again, real chess match to start off. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The Caps press. They can't get to the net. Power play for Florida. That's killed off. The Panthers press. Verhaeghe's denied there. Shots are 8-1 for Florida with 9.5 minutes left. And then with 8:08 left, Panthers get a power play. That's killed off. They get 4 shots on it. The shots were up to 15-1 at that point. And then Lindgren, who had had a great game up until that point, he fails to clear it, and Tkachuk wires it at 19 minutes. So Lindgren turns it over. Tkachuk buries it. Panthers call a timeout, and then the goalie gets pulled, and at 19:20, Reinhart hits the empty net from Tkachuk and Barkov. So your final score is 4-2. Big 2 points for Florida. They go to 42, 31, and 7, stay above the playoff line. For the Capitals, 34, 36, and 9 with the loss. Your 3 stars in this one, Tkachuk, Wilson, and Lindgren. Shots on net, 10-7 Florida in the first, 14-9 Washington in the second, 18-3 Florida in the third. Final shots, 37-24 Florida. Power plays, Panthers 1 for 4, Washington 0 for 3. The hits, 21-10 for Washington. Lions save 22 out of 24. Quietly, he has been salvaging the season for Florida. And Lindgren, 33 saves on 36 shots. Again, good night for Lindgren. Just that one gaffe, and it cost him. All right. Next up, Montreal and Toronto. Boy, howdy. This game, I tell you, Montembeault versus Samsonov. We get a power play for the Leafs. That's killed off. No shots there. Leafs press. They get some shots after, though, and the shots are 4-0 6 minutes in, which was an indication for how this game was going to go. Nylander's denied on a net drive. There's a power play for the Leafs. The Habs cleared early. However, on the following zone entry, Toronto opens the scoring. It's Marner on the power play from Matthews and Gustafsson at 9:08. Habs get their first shot on net with 9 minutes left. And they enjoyed that shot because it was the only shot they had in the entire period. Leafs press with 7 minutes left. They end up getting a power play, and they score on it. At 15-16, it's Tavares from Marner and O'Reilly. We then had a fight between Pizzetta and Simmons. Leafs press with 3 minutes left. 2:07 left. The Habs get a power play. That leads to a shorthanded rush chance for Nylander. Near miss there. That's killed off. But it's 2-0 Toronto after 1. Second period. Leafs press at 1.5 but Kovacevic would get Montreal on the board from Matheson and Suzuki. That's at 2:28. But Toronto, they would answer. Nylander goes bar down from O'Reilly at 3:56. And then 4:52, so 56 seconds later, Marner adds one from Bunting and Matthews to make it 4-1. Leafs press with 6.5 minutes left. With 2:04 left, the Habs get a power play. That's killed off. 2 shots on net. It's 4-1 Toronto after 2. Third period, power play for the Habs. That's killed off. A net feed to Gallagher's blocked. Marner has a rush chance. That's defended. Leafs press. That draws them a power play, and they score on it. But there's a goalie interference challenge by Marty St. Louis, but it doesn't matter. The goal counts, and so it's a power play for the Leafs as a result. The power play goal that was disputed, Tavares from O'Reilly and Gustafsson at 6:01, but the Habs do kill that power play off for delay of game. Edmondson cross-checks Bunting, so that leads to some punching. Simmons came in and defended him pretty darn quickly. The Habs came out of that with a power play, but Toronto kills it off. And then Matthews scores at 13:51 to make it a lot to 1. Power play for Toronto. They don't score on it. However, Bunting scores from Matthews and Gustafsson at 16:50. Or is that a power play goal? Yeah, it is. It's Bunting from Matthews and Gustafsson because they went 4 for 6 tonight. Power play goal, power play goal, power play goal. Yep. And then with 1:10 left, because why not, they put in the emergency backup goaltender. So he gets to play the last minute and 10 seconds. Did not face a shot. But yeah, it's always fun when they do that. So it's a no mercy game. Toronto wins this one 7-1. They go to 47, 21, and 11. Montreal 31, 43, and 6. I really thought with Toronto not having anything to play for that they probably wouldn't have a fantastic game. But anyhow, 3 stars are Marner, Tavares, and O'Reilly. Shots on net are 18-1 Toronto in the first, 16-14 Toronto in the second, and 12-6 Toronto in the third. Final shots 46-21 for Toronto. Power plays, Montreal goes 0 for 4, Toronto goes 4 for 6. Hits 29-28 for Toronto. Montembeault saves 39 out of 46. Samsonov saves 20 out of 21, and then Alexander. There you go. You're in the net. You played 1 minute and 10 seconds. You are forever going to be remembered as an emergency backup goaltender that went in for that minute and 10 seconds, and nobody can take that away from him. All right, next up, the Rangers and the Columbus Blue Jackets. So Columbus not doing a good job of playing spoiler. The good news if you're a Columbus fan, tonight, you're number 1 in the hunt for Bedard. So it's Shesterkin versus Hutchinson. Things get pushy on a hold by Igor early on. There's a near miss for Hedl as the Rangers press. The shots are 3-1 Columbus at 3.5 minutes. Jackets draw themselves a power play. That's killed off. 2 shots. They press some more after it ends. It looks like Columbus is going to have a good game. However, there's a turnover and it's in the net. VC scores from Mott and Goudreau at 10:08. The Rangers press with 8.5 minutes left, and Kreider would bury one in close at 11:49 from Zibanejad and Miller to make it 2-0. The Jackets press with 6 minutes left. They don't get anything out of that. It's 2-0 after the first. Second period, early press for the Rangers. Panarin fires one wide. The Jackets rush. There's a power play for the Rangers. That's killed off. Shots are 6-0 New York at 6 minutes. It's getting ugly at this point. Near miss for Marchenko. Robinson was down. Columbus gets a power play with 1:23 left. Oh, wait. It's a 5-minute call. And they review it, and they decide it was a collision, and it's not a penalty. So it's not a penalty. Hopefully Robinson's okay. But after the second period, it's still 2-0. Third period, Hedl's denied and close. Jackets at 0 shots, 3.5 minutes in. Rangers playing a really strong defensive game, and then they add to the lead. It's Mikkola with his first of the season. Tips that one in from Zibanejad and Kane at 5 minutes. Mott then has a chance. It's held. And honestly, I had to put this on the board. I thought Hutchinson played well. I don't blame Hutchinson for this at all. I thought he played well tonight. Shots are 2-1 Rangers at 6.5 minutes. Zibanejad can't bury one on a 2-0. He was just in too close to the net when he got it. Goudreau has a rush chance that's defended. We then had a power play for the Rangers. Becomes a 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. And then Trocheck. It was a nice pass by Tarasenko, and he buries it. That's at 19:40. So just to put a little salt in the wound, the final score is 4-0 for the Rangers. They go to 47, 21, and 12 with the win. Columbus 24, 47, and 8 with the loss. Your 3 stars in this one are Shesterkin, Kreider, and Zibanejad. Shots on net, 12-9 Columbus in the first, 11-3 Rangers in the second, 8-5 Rangers in the third. Final shots, 28-20 for the Rangers. Power plays, both teams 0 for 2. Hits, 24-16 Columbus. Shesterkin saves all 20 shots for his 11th career shutout. Hutchinson saved 24 out of 28 at the other end. And again, I thought Hutchinson played all right. Okay, Nashville and against Winnipeg. Biggest game of the year for Nashville, right? They got themselves in this position. They had control over their destiny. And now they don't. So it's Saros versus Hellebuck, because the other side of it is it's also the Jets' biggest game of the season. They could not afford to lose this one, knowing that Calgary was playing in Vancouver, and there was a really good chance they would win or at least get a point there. So power play for the Jets. Ehlers was cut with a stick, no call. So that power play's killed off, 1 shot. There's shots are 3-2 for Nashville, 5.5 minutes in. Nashville gets a power play. That's killed off, 4 shots. So Hellebuck busy there and keeping things scoreless. McCarron's denied on a turnover. The Jets get a power play. Scheifele tips one wide. That's cleared out. Ehlers had a net feed this tipped aside. That power play's killed off. Shots are 8-5 Nashville with 4.5 minutes left. And in the final minute, Jets get some pressure, but it's scoreless after 1. Second period, Lowry can't bury one in close. The early jump was definitely for Winnipeg. 7 minutes in, they were leading in shots 5-2, so much better than they were at the start of the first. Jets press at 9 minutes. Saros is the reason this is scoreless until Scheifele gets his 40th of the season at 15:06 from Nemesnikov and Morrissey. Power play then for the Jets. There was a questionable whether or not Dubois gets a goal. That didn't go in, and it was covered, and so those don't count. You can't do that. The Preds finished the kill after that. Scheifele then can't bury one in the closing seconds, but it's 1-0 Winnipeg after one. It's not the kind of lead you want, but when you got Hellebuck in net, you feel a little more confident. So third period, early jump for the Jets, and Pionk wires one on a rush. At 1:36 from Ehlers and Wheeler. So right there, Ehlers and Wheeler rolls right off the tongue. I love it when that happens. And so the Jets are up 2-0 there. Jets press at 4.5 minutes. The Preds fail to clear when they get a chance. Scheifele was denied in close. The rebounds held. Shots are 10-6 for Winnipeg with 7 minutes left. Saros covers with Nino on the doorstep. They'd pull the goaltender with 2:17 left. They had shots. Hellebuck just rejected them. Your final score is 2-0 for Winnipeg. They go to 44-32-3 with the win. Nashville 40-31-8 with the loss. So that's a tough one. It puts them 3 points behind the Jets now. And they're not in control of their destiny. Their next game now is in Calgary. They can ruin Calgary's spring as well. So your 3 stars are Ehlers, Hellebuck, and Saros. The shots on net, 8-7 Nashville in the first, 20-5 Winnipeg in the second, and 15-11 Nashville in the third. Final shots, 38-28 for Winnipeg. Power plays, Nashville 0 for 1, Winnipeg 0 for 3. The hits, 32-31 Nashville. Saros saves 36 out of 38. He was fantastic. Hellebuck saves all 28 shots for his 32nd career shutout. Congratulations to him. And now I need to change boards. All right, so the one trap magnet came through today. And it's funny, too, because Tampa Bay got taken apart by Ottawa before. Now, Ottawa, of course, they don't really have anything to play for, but still, you don't want to go out of the season on a losing note. So it's Elliott versus Talbot, and 30 seconds in, Batherson opens the scoring from Brandstrom and DeBrincat. Bolts get a power play. They can't set up early, but they do score on it. It's Killorn from Stamkos and Hedman at 2:51. The shots are 4-3 for Tampa Bay at 9.5 minutes, but at 10:57, Gauthier scores. That's from Gambrell and Sanderson. We then get a power play for Ottawa. That was killed off by Tampa. The Sens press with 1.5 minutes left, but they're up 2-1 after the first. Second period, Giroux to Tkachuk, near miss there. The Sens with some early pressure. And then at 6:21, Brown scores to put them up by 2. Kastelik and Joseph with the assists. Bolts press at the half. We then get a power play for Tampa. That becomes a 5-on-3. Well, you can't do that. 5-on-3, Tampa Bay scores. It's Hagel from Stamkos and Perry at 13:38. And then during the 5-on-4, Hedman adds one from Kucherov and Stamkos at 14:06. DeBrincat then has a shot that's held because they're trying to get the lead back. Tampa Bay had tied it. With 1:32 left, the Sens get a power play, and they score on it. At 19:43, it is DeBrincat from Pinto, and DeBrincat knew it was in the net before anybody else did. He celebrated before the horn went, before the referee pointed anything. So after the second period, it is 4-3 in favor of the Ottawa Senators. Third period, Sanderson has a shot, a blast that's saved and held. And then at 2:07, Sokolov gets his first National Hockey League goal. Kudos to him for that. We then had a power play for the Sens. The Bolts don't let him set up. Clevin has a blast that's held. That's killed off. And then Braden Point scores his 49th of the season. Very quiet 49-goal season for Point. Hedman and Asamont with the assists at 6:01. We then get a power play for the Sens. That's killed off. And then Kastelik scores from Sanderson at 10:49. So that restores the 2-goal lead for Ottawa. Then there's too many Sens on the ice. Tampa Bay gets a power play. That's killed off. Tampa Bay goes back to the power play. And the Sens are like, fine, we'll kill that one too. And they did. So the penalty kill comes in big when it needed to. And then the empty netter is Giroux from Stützle, and Tkachuk at 19:41 takes the tension out of this game. And your final score is 7-4 in favor of Ottawa. They go to 38-35-7 with the win. The Tampa Bay Lightning 45-29-6 with the loss. And again, I really kudos to the Ottawa Senators for not wanting to go out of the season on a losing note. This bodes well for them this week. So your 3 stars are DeBrincat, Sanderson, and Stamkos. Shots on net are 8-6 Ottawa in the first, 14-11 Ottawa in the second, 18-7 Ottawa in the third. Final shots 40-24 for Ottawa. Power plays Tampa Bay 3 for 5. Ottawa 1 for 4. The hits 25-18 for Tampa. Elliott saves 33 out of 39. Talbot saves 20 out of 24. So overall, pretty good game if you're a Sens fan, right? All right. Next up, the Islanders at home against Philly. So yeah, the Islanders. So Florida wins. Pittsburgh earlier today, they win. The Islanders, if they win, of course, this keeps things status quo in the East, which is not good news if you're a Pens fan. So it's Hart versus Sorokin. The early jump is for the Flyers. Frost was denied. Tippett has a chance that goes wide. The Flyers press. The shots are 3-1 in favor of Philly, 5 minutes in. Horvat fires one high then as the Islanders press. Tippett has a fast break chance that's saved. Flyers press at the half. Clutterbuck has a shot that's blocked and cleared. The Flyers are doing a good job of holding the Islanders at bay, but they needed a goal and they don't get it. Lee does. It's through a screen, it's deflected in. Mayfield and Holmstrom with the assists at 14-19. So the Islanders get that first really important goal there. Flyers nearly answer. Hayes can't bury one. Then there's a crossbar for Lee trying to get his second. The Flyers clear it out. It's 1-0 after 1 for the Islanders. Second period, shots are 1 apiece at 4 minutes and kind of a quiet period until a rush chance. Nelson buries it from Dobson at 7:50. We then get a crossbar for Lawton. The Islanders rush after that. Lee's denied, and then he's denied a second time. Clutterbuck has a shot that's saved. The Flyers having real issues with turnovers at this point in the game as well. Power play for the Islanders. Frost nearly scores. Pulock saved that one. So the shutout, Pulock might get some credit for that as well. Parisi scores. There's a review for a high stick, and much like in the Florida game, yep, it's a high stick, doesn't count. The Islanders press with 6 minutes left, and eventually they score. Bolduc scores from Horvat and Holmstrom. That's at 15:06. The Islanders then press for another, but after 2 periods of play, it's 3-0 for the Islanders. Third period, power play for the Flyers. York's denied. The Islanders clear it out. They do kill that off. Again, the shots on net are 3-1 Flyers. This time at 7.5 minutes. Power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. 5:48 left. The Flyers get a power play. That's killed off. No shots. Flyers did get some pressure after, but then it's a rush chance and it's in. Fashing scores from Pajot and Dobson at 18:21. And the Islanders win 4-0 at home over the Flyers. They go to 41-30-9. Philadelphia 29-37-13. Another Tony the Tiger Magnet, so that's the third one of the night. It's a good thing there weren't any other shutouts because I only have 3 of them. 3 stars in this one, Sorokin, Horvat, and Dobson. Horvat's playing very well for the Islanders. Everybody focuses on the goals. He's not getting goals. He's not getting the goals like he did in Vancouver. He doesn't need to. That's not important. He's winning faceoffs and he's playing well defensively. So, shots on net are 15-8 Philadelphia in the first, 10-4 Islanders in the second, 8-3 Philly in the third. Final shots 27-21 Flyers. Both teams go for 2 on the power play. Hits 19-17 Philly. Hart saves 15 out of 18. Sandstrom saves 2 out of 3 in relief. Sorokin saves all 27 shots for his 16th career shutout. He's got a lot. For the amount of games he's played, the amount of shutouts that Sorokin has is ridiculous. It's like, what, 1 every 4 games? Something around that? It's just insane. All right. St. Louis. So St. Louis, it looked like might come back, but they put themselves in a situation where I think they were just too far behind, and the game means something for Minnesota, right? So it's Binnington versus Gustafsson in this one. Kaprizov has a rush chance that's saved. And then on a good forecheck, St. Louis opens the scoring. It's Blais from Falk and Vrana at 5:19. The Wild press at 7.5 minutes. There's some near misses there. Blues press at 9.5 minutes. Draws them a power play. The Wild don't let them set up, and then Hartman. Now, Hartman and Binnington, remember that? I think Hartman does too. He scores shorthanded on a fast break at 11:17 and enjoyed that so much that poke check by Hartman, rush, pass. Sam Steele gets a shorthanded goal 20 seconds later. 2 shorthanded goals by the Wild within 20 seconds, and suddenly it's a 2-1 lead, and then the Wild finish the kill. So the shots are 13-8 Blues with 5.5 minutes left. Then the Wild get a power play. St. Louis kills that off. But it's 2-1 Minnesota after 1. Second period. Power play for the Wild. That's killed off. Shots are 3-1 Minnesota, 5 minutes in. There's a post for Spurgeon. Foligno has a chance that's held. Near miss for Johansson around the net. The Wild go back to the power play. Kaprizov to Boldy's picked off and cleared. And then Freddie Gaudreau continues his remarkable career season from Nyquist and Klingberg. That's at 14:27. He deflects that one top shelf. The Wild looked at another, and they do. In the final minute, they get it. At 19:25, it's Spurgeon from Nyquist and Steele. So Gustav Nyquist making himself at home with the Minnesota Wild, and Minnesota's up 4-1 after 2. But early in the third, at 1:11, Neighbors buries one blocker side. That's from Shen and Falk. Reeves then couldn't bury a rebound as he had an opportunity. Ryan Reeves is playing pretty well offensively for Minnesota. I don't know where that's coming from. The power play then happens for the Wild after that. But there's a near miss for Zuccarello. That's killed off by St. Louis. And then they get a goal closer. It's Buchnevich. Backdoor, tipped in. Leddy and Kapanen with the assists at 7:51. We then get a power play for the Blues. That's killed off. Fans call one. The referee does not. 2:18 left. There's an icing by the Wild during a press by the Blues. And so, yeah, the Blues pull the goaltender, and Brodin hits the empty net at 18:07 from the other end of the ice. So Brodin's able to hit the middle of the net. He's done it a couple of times in his career now, we've seen. And so your final score is 5-3 for Minnesota. They go to 45, 24, and 10, so they're at 100 points. For St. Louis, 37, 36, and 7 with the loss in this one. 3 stars are Hartman, Steele, and Leddy. Shots on net are 18-8 St. Louis in the first, 12-10 Minnesota in the second, and 12-10 St. Louis in the third. Final shots are 40-30 for St. Louis. Power plays, the Blues 0 for 2. Minnesota 1 for 4. Hits 9-8 for St. Louis. No hitting. Binnington, 25 saves on 29 shots, and Gustafsson, 37 saves on 40 shots. So Gustafsson played pretty darn well. All right, next up, New Jersey and Boston. So all the scoring got done early in this one. And it's funny because, of course, when the scoring was going on, I was like, this could be a really high-scoring game. Nope. So it's Blackwood versus Ullmark. There's a power play for Boston, and they score on it. 2 minutes in, it's Zacha against his former teammates from Lindholm and Bertuzzi. The shots 4 minutes into this are 7-2 for Boston, and they'd score at 4:44. It is Zacha again with his 20th of the season. Pasternak and Bertuzzi with the assists. But New Jersey would answer. It's Jesper Bratt from Hughes and Palat at 6:21. He buries that one on a fast break. So again, at this point in the game, I think there's going to be a ton of goals in this one. Well, the Devils press to tie it, and then the Bruins press at 9 minutes. The shots are 16-7 Boston with 9 minutes left. Like, just a ridiculous amount of shots. And after allowing those 2 goals in 2 minutes and 44 seconds, Blackwood was a wall. So there's some pushing on a hold by Blackwood. Hall misses a stretch pass. It was Hall's first game back. They put Foligno and Forbert on LTIR to make room for him. Things get pushy again with 1:33 left, but it's 2-1 Boston after 1. Second period. Pasternak has a net feed that's blocked. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The shots are 4-1 Devils at 4.5 minutes. McAvoy has a blast that's tipped aside. Zboril exited for a little bit. He was hurt. He would come back into the game. We get a power play for the Devils. Things get punchy on a hold by Ullmark. Zboril and Hischier were unfriendly with one another during that. The Bruins finish the kill. Bertuzzi's then denied and close. The Devils press in the final minute. And with 15.5 seconds left, there's a power play for New Jersey, and it's a 4-minute. So this is basically one of those turning points, right? So that rolls over into the third period. Palat has a slot shot. That's held. Meyer has a tip shot that's saved. Then there's a shorthanded chance for Zboril. He fires wide. Palat fires one wide. Shorthanded 2-on-1 ends it. So there were some chances both ways in this one. Bergeron with some good shorthanded play, and same with Marchand. But what else is new? Pasternak has a blast that deflects wide. The Bruins press at 6 minutes. The shots are 4-3 Boston at 6.5 minutes. Carlo prevents a Timo Meier goal. So good defensive play by Carlo. And Pasternak's denied. Blackwood holds there. And did I hear a "We Want the Cup" chant? Okay, so you can't chant "We Want the Cup" before the playoffs have started. You can't. You can't. It's just, I'm a Boston fan as much as anybody, but you can't. You can't chant "We Want the Cup" a week out before the playoffs getting started. 2:06 left. There was a Marchand check on McLeod where it was head contact. They talked it over. There's no penalty on the play. I know that because it's Marchand, there's going to be a lot of there should have been something. It was one of those last moment changes in angle. I didn't see anything premeditated in it, and hopefully McLeod's okay. He exited, but it was a hit to the head. At any rate, the concussion spotter would have pulled him out if he hadn't gone off the ice. So, no penalty on the play. Goalie pull happens on the next faceoff, and then things get really brawly at the horn. These teams not fans of each other at all. If this becomes the conference final, we might be looking at a war. But tonight, the battle is won by Boston 2-1. They go to 62-12-5. That is tying the NHL record for wins. They have 129 points, so they're 3 points off the record there. For New Jersey, 50-22-8 with the loss tonight. 3 stars are Zacha, Ullmark, and Blackwood. Shots on net are 22-10 Boston in the first, 11-10 for New Jersey in the second, and 9-8 New Jersey in the third. Final shots 40-30 for Boston. Power plays, New Jersey 0 for 3. Boston scored on the only one they had. Hits 32-31 New Jersey. Blackwood saves 38 out of 40, and Ullmark saves 29 out of 30. At any rate, Blackwood showed that he could be relied on tonight, and Ullmark just another remarkable night. Now I need to change boards. All right, so now we get into the late starts. Calgary in against Vancouver tonight. It was Markstrom versus Demko, so teacher versus student, however you want to look at it. But yeah, Demko continues his remarkable run, and Markstrom had a pretty good game too. So Pettersson with a near miss and close. Toffoli then has a rush chance that's caught and held. This is one of those rare games. Toffoli didn't get a bunch of points and goals against Vancouver. Shots are 3-0 Flames at 5 minutes. Markstrom denies Miller on a rush. And then McWard gets his first National Hockey League goal. So he scores from Joshua and Stadnicka at 9:03. Besser then has a tip shot that's held. There's a power play for Calgary. That leads to a short-handed goal. It is Pettersson scoring that one from Miller at 13:29. For Pettersson, that's point number 99 on the season. So he's right on the verge of 100. Remember, JT Miller was on the verge of 100, didn't hit it last year. Lindholm then has a shot that's held. That's killed off. So the rest of that power play's done. There's a power play for the Canucks. That's killed off. And so it's 2-0 Vancouver after the first period. Second period, Kadri has a screenshot that's saved. The shots are 4-1 for the Flames at 4 minutes, and Shorthouse did it. He said 4:20. And there was no reason for him to have said 4:20 there, and he did it. So this is something I'm going to be tracking. I never thought I'd see the day I'd be doing a 4:20 tracker, but here we are. Dubé has a rush chance that deflects out. Toffoli's denied on a 3-on-2, but they press after. Lindholm's denied the Canucks clear. There's a power play for Vancouver. Hughes prevented a shorthanded 2-on-0. Nice play there. He doesn't get enough credit for his defense. He's pretty good defensively. Shorthanded Lindholm rush is saved and held, and that power play's killed off. Shots are 12-7 Flames with 6.5 minutes left. Garland has a blast that's caught and held. Flames press with 4 minutes left, but with 2:46 left, the Flames, too many men on the ice. Vancouver gets a power play, and Calgary kills it. So we're going to the third period with Vancouver still ahead 2-0. But at 38 seconds, Lindholm wires it far corner from Dubé and Toffoli. So that makes it 2-1. The Flames then press to tie it. We get a power play for Calgary. The puck ends up on the top of the Canucks net on this weird play, and Demko holds it. And then Kadri. Now, this didn't qualify as a power play goal at the time. It apparently does now because it shows that Calgary's 1 for 2 on the power play. That's at 6:07, and that was the 7th shot of the period. Vancouver had none. So it's 2-2, and Calgary's just dominating. Amon then has a rush chance that's defended. The Flames press with 5 minutes left, but it really felt like overtime throughout that whole third period, and so we go to overtime. Flames controlled early. Teams trade turnovers. Miller fires one wide on a fast break. Hughes fires wide. The Flames rush. Kadri's denied. Both goaltenders really good in the overtime to send us to the shootout. And in the shootout, Kuzmenko gets the winner because Demko saved all 3 shots at his end for the second shootout in a row. Vancouver wins this one 3-2. They go to 36, 36, and 7. For Calgary, this is a tough one. They get a point, but they fall a point behind Winnipeg. They're 37, 27, and 16 with the shootout loss. 3 stars are Demko, Lindholm, and McWard in one of his first games. I don't think it's his first. I think it's his second, isn't it? Anyways, shots on net are 13-9 Vancouver in the first, 18-12 Calgary in the second, 12-4 Calgary in the third. Both teams had 4 shots in the overtime. Final shots 43-33 for Calgary. Power plays, Calgary 1 for 2, Vancouver 0 for 3. The hits 31-25 Calgary. Markstrom saved 31 out of 33, and Demko 41 saves on 43 shots. Just continues to impress. All right, next up, Seattle at home against Chicago. Well, this trap didn't end up happening. I really thought that, today we would see some teams that are lower down in the standings probably have pretty good games because these guys have already clinched spots and all that. No. So, in fact, with the result tonight that we saw here, yeah, they're only 2 points back of LA now. So it's Mrazek versus Jones. Imagine if we get Edmonton and Seattle in the first round, and LA ends up playing Colorado. Because after tonight, that might be a fun one. So yeah, Mrazek versus Jones, early jump for Seattle, but the shots are 2-1 Chicago at 4 minutes. But Tolvanen, it's a one-timer on a rush. Froden dropped it back to him. Alexiak with the secondary assist. That's at 4:48. But Chicago doesn't go away. Seth Jones scores from Bjork and Athanasiou at 5:44. Kraken look to answer. Dickinson's denied on a 2-on-1 rush. And then at 8:55, Eberle scores from Alexiak. We then get a power play for Chicago. That's killed off. The Kraken get a power play of their own. Chicago kills that off as well. 2:29 left. The Kraken go back to the power play, and they score on it at 19:09. It is Gord from Eberle and Sprung. So your score after the first period is 3-1. Second period, early press for Chicago. There's a post for McCann from the slot. Shots are 2-0 Chicago 4 minutes in. So both first 4 minutes of the first and second period, not a lot going on for Seattle. Bjorkstrand then has a shot that's held. There's a power play for the Kraken. Wenberg's denied. The Hawks clear it out. They kill it off. Kraken with a 3-on-2. Donato's robbed there. Hawks get a power play. It becomes a 5-on-3. They score on the 5-on-3. And it's Seth Jones again from Reichel at 10:39. Good cycle, and he buries it. The Kraken then kill the 5-on-4, and then right out of the box, Larson scores. So it's a break out of the box at 12:21. McCann and Alexiak with the assist there. And then at 13:16, so less than a minute later, Sprong scores from Schultz. We then get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. During that 4-on-4, Chicago gets one. Reichel scores from Vlasic and Dickinson. That's at 15:02. It was a screenshot as well, so even though there's only 8 guys on the ice, there's still a screen in front. Seattle presses to answer. The Hawks score. Offside challenge, no goal. So we start the third period, and Jones is out, Grubauer is in, so the emergency backup goaltender becomes an option for Seattle. Early jump for the Kraken, but the shots are one apiece 3 minutes in. McCann has a net drive, that's defended. The Hawks press at 7 minutes. Reese Johnson's denied from the slot, and then McCann scores from Bjorkstrand at 11:54, and not long after at 14:51, Geekie adds one from Sprung and Donato. That makes your final score 7-3 for Seattle. They go to 45-26 and 8 with the win. For the Chicago Blackhawks, they're 25-48 and 6 with the loss. So your 3 stars are Alexiak, McCann, and Sprung. Shots on net 13-10 Seattle in the first, 14-8 Seattle in the second. 11-4 Chicago in the third. Final shots 31-29 for Seattle. Power plays, both teams 1 for 3. Hits 17-15 for Seattle. Like Rich? No. So you're 17-15 for Seattle. You'll just have to guess. Mrazek 24 saves on 31 shots. Jones saved 15 out of 18, and Grubauer saved all 11 shots. Now he's trying to chase his sister, and that's a no for me. All right, so moving along. Last game of the night, last game of the day, and I'm done. So, Colorado and LA. It's one of those games. Colorado gets some bounces tonight. The hockey gods clearly liked them. So it's Georgiev versus Copley. The Cylon helmets, because they were wearing the really nice third jerseys tonight in LA. Arvidsson has a rush chance at save. The early jumps for the Kings. The shots are 4-1 in their favor 5 minutes in. We get a power play for LA. Kempe to Iafallo, near miss there. Things get pushy on a hold for Georgiev. That power play's killed off. Iafallo has a shot that's kicked aside. Jack Johnson fires one wide as the Avalanche press. 2:12 left. There's a power play for the Avs. That's killed off. So after the first period, a very dominant first period for LA, but a very scoreless first period overall. Second period, 1:28 in. Puck bounces off the glass, bounces off the back of the goaltender and in. So off Copley and in. It is Malgin from Compher and McDermott. The Kings look to answer, but at 2:30, another bounce and it's in. Newhook scores from Taves. So the Kings press at 5.5 minutes. Walker's denied and close, and then Kempe gets LA on the board. He scores from Kopitar and Byfield at 7:34. It was a nice pass by Kopitar, and it's a one-timer into the back of the net. The Avs press for a response. There's a net feed to Kempe. That's blocked. The LA Kings get a power play, and they score on it. It is Arvidsson on his 30th birthday from Kempe and Kopitar at 12:55, and that was while Compher had no stick, so it was 5-on-3.5. Kings press are kept to the outside. There's more pressure by the Kings to close it out, and at the horn, there's some pushing. These teams don't like each other much. So, third period, early press by the Avs, but at 1:50, Hunt is the one that gets the goal from Eller. Don't expect Hunt to get the goal. That's why there's a but there. But at any rate, the shots are 4-0 Avs at 4.5 minutes. Kaliev has a net feed that's sticked out by Georgiev, so he knocked it into the corner, not out of the zone altogether. But it was a smart move. And then Malgin scores from Nichushkin at 6:18. So Malgin with a couple of goals. Kempe would answer at 6:44, so almost right after. Gavrikov with the assist, as well as... So Gavrikov didn't have both assists. Kopitar had the secondary assist. Nichushkin then can't bury one in close with 5:01 left. The Avs get a power play. That's killed off. The goalie pull happens with 2.5 minutes left. With 3.4 seconds left, things get really brawly. So Cogliano with a head hit on Kempe. And that's where things just got really out of control. Rantanen then was talking... It looked like he was talking to Kempe about kind of like keep your head up kind of thing, which of course led to more ugliness. And yeah, so this ends with the Kings on a power play. And I don't know if Cogliano's going to face any kind of discipline for it, if there'll be a fine or a suspension. But if the LA Kings, let's say, dropped out of this spot and ended up being, say, the number 1 wild card and played Colorado in the first round, I'd be okay with this being a first round matchup. So the Avalanche win 4-3. They go to 48, 24, and 6 on the season. The Kings drop another 45, 25, and 10 overall. The 3 stars in this one, Kempe, Kopitar, and Malgin. Shots on net are 18-4 LA in the first. That's right, LA gets 2 of the 3 stars. Home team picks the 3 stars. 14-7 LA in the second, and 12-9 Colorado in the third. Final shots are 41-23 for LA. Power plays 0 for 2 for Colorado, 1 for 3 for LA. Your hits 22-19 Colorado. Georgiev deserved a star. He had 38 saves on 41 shots. He was fantastic, especially in that first period. And Copley, 19 saves on 23 shots. So I guess you go back to Korpisalo in the next game. But there you go. 16 game days done. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.